And welcome back to another episode of Pokemon Knowledge. This is stream try number 3 on this video. Let me know down in the chat, guys, if the volume is better on this video. If not, we'll have to try to figure out something better to do. So what I was saying before is we're going to crack this slab. We're going to do it live. I'm going to do it more in a future type video where I'm going to crack this slab today. And in a later video, we'll get the slab back. We'll see cracking it. So this is a little bit of the behind the scenes, and we're going to talk about a lot of the stuff that's been going on in the Pokemon hobby recently. But yes, like I said, please let me know down in the comments if the volume is good, because if not, we're going to have to figure out something to do. But PokeFresh had brought up something in the previous stream before this video got cut out. Pretty much I don't see anybody saying the volume's good in the chat. All right, so Keen said the volume's better. So yesterday on Whatnot, some really, really sketchy stuff actually happened. And I wasn't actually going to talk about it, but because PokeFresh had talked about it in the last stream that we tried to do. So Whatnot had opened a base set booster box and on limited cards, but what happened was Wizard of the Coast had a bunch of extra first edition packs, but they weren't going to put first edition cards in it, but they still had all the wrappers. So all they did to replace it was they put a little black triangle over the first edition stamp. Now, those packs inherently have value just because you have a lot of sealed product collectors, as all you guys know. So they opened a normal base set booster box. They saw black triangle packs. So they put that box aside. They decide to give all the packs to people. Well, in order to be part of the giveaway, all you had to do was go on the Whatnot stream, watch as they were opening another base set booster box, and then you would just have to like enter in for every single pack to like a lotto. Now, keep in mind, uh, base set booster box has 36 packs in it. Now, out of the first 15 packs, there were 2 duplicate winners. And the amount of people that were in each one of these randomized things was around like 1,200 people. So that's what they said. They said 1,200 people were entering into these random lottos. And out of 15 packs, 2 people won 2 of them. Explain to me how that makes sense. If you think about what the odds are of just, well, obviously the odds are simple. Just to win one pack going against 1,199 other people, your odds of getting one pack is almost nothing. Now imagine getting 2 packs in the matter of like 3 draws. And so I think they realized what was going on, that something fishy was happening. Now, the people that were winning, it appeared, were people who also open up product on the Whatnot stream. Now, there was a lot that happened there. One, I just wanted to go on because I was like, okay, I will see if I can win one of these packs, not to buy it, but win one of these packs just because I was like, oh, all right, 36 packs, only 1,000 entries. I'm like, the odds of winning are not like as bad as maybe some other things. And you don't have to do anything, you don't have to spend money. But as quickly as I did that, I started to realize that some really, really fishy stuff was going on. So, and then another thing that was super fishy, and this was like one of the most obvious signs of shilling I have seen in a long time, is somebody was instantly bidding $800 every time on packs. Now, you guys are familiar. Base set unlimited packs don't sell for close to $800. But what happens is you'll have people just hit the bid button and then it instantly, as soon as they start. But there was this one person who kept bidding $800 every single time the auction started. Like as fast as you can type 800, he was typing 800, and then the bids would always go up. Then eventually, given enough time, people did not bid anymore. So his $800 bid went in, and nobody bid on him anymore. And then he ended up winning that pack for $800, ended up pulling it on hollow. It was great. But It was just a super sketchy, like, I don't know. There was something messed up. Yeah. So Pokemon said, weren't they filming it out of a hotel room too? Yeah, it was super sketch, man. And like, just I want you to think of the odds. If you have 1,200 people in a raffle for each pack, so once you pull one pack, it starts over with another 1,200. To have two people win 4 packs out of 15, the chance of that is astronomical. You'd have to call up somebody at NASA to try to figure out what the odds are of winning 2 of those packs. It was super sketch. And then the fact that the people winning those packs were people that also were content creators on Whatnot, like, dude, there's something seriously going wrong, and they probably will never like address it or anything. But I already am super sketched out by Whatnot. I don't buy anything on Whatnot, and this does not help their argument. And I would love to see their argument. Honestly, I think they said they called up Whatnot support, and Whatnot support just said, "Oh, it's completely random that these people just got super lucky." No way. Like, I might have been born at night, but I wasn't born last night. So I just want you guys to remember that. So, uh, Pokemon says the audio is jacked. Exit out, come back in. Audio is flipping out, and he's responding to me. All right, guys. I'm seeing everybody say audio is fine. Let me pull this up on my phone real quick. See how it sounds on my end. Yeah. Anybody else in the chat? Let me know how it sounds. Anybody else? Everybody, thumbs up, thumbs down in the chat. Yeah. Sorry, guys. It sounds good at my. Yeah, sounds good on my end. But, anyways, all right. So what we're gonna do in this video is I'm gonna crack a slab. I talked about it before, grading card companies, but cards that I think have good fundamentals, cards that are going to be worth a lot in the future. Like, this is a Hollow Hypno from Aquapolis, graded GA10. I think this card's going to cross grade over to PSA very easy. Now, there is like this very weird feeling people have where they say that GMA gives 10s out to everyone. And that's not really true, but let's just say it was. If you had a card that if you did submit to PSA and it would get a 10. Now, if you just took that same card and submitted it to another grading card company, it doesn't change the inherent values of that card. Does that make sense? Like, let's just say I took a PSA slab, a 10, and I cracked that card out and I submitted it to GMA and get a 10. It doesn't change the condition of the card, but like, as a whole, as a hobby, we are so far disconnected from the value of cards versus the value of grading card companies. So very rarely you can find a lot of value in other grading card companies if you know what you're doing. And the reason why I say you got to know what you're doing is because you really need to just be able to look at the card and with all certainty say, yes, this is a very good near mint card that I think is a very good cross candidate. Now, this card in a PSA 9, I'll probably break even on. And that's paying $100 to have it graded at PSA. But in a PSA 10, I'm going to make a lot of money on this card. And when I talk about cracking slabs, cross grading, I literally do not have to do anything. There is no work involved from buying a card already graded, cracking it, and submitting it to PSA. Literally no work whatsoever. So that's what we're going to do on this video. I talked about it in the previous stream, but I'll talk about it again. Anytime you crack open a different card grading companies, sometimes they have penny sleeves inside the card, sometimes they don't. Make sure you look at all this stuff as you're cracking the slab. Don't damage the card. Don't turn a 10 into an 8 or do something crazy. So all you need to do for crack a slab is get a bag, put the card in the bag as you're cracking it because the plastic pieces just fly everywhere. So all you need is a pair of snips. What I like to do, is I do all 4 corners. Some people only do one. And then you need a flathead screwdriver. You just put the screwdriver in and you just pop it, and then it will come apart. So, and what we're going to do is it's going to kind of be like, this is the behind the scenes of the later video I'm going to make in a couple months. So the later video will have literally us cracking the slab together. And then the other video will have the card coming back, and I'll talk about like turnaround times and everything, and we'll see if it actually grades a 9 worst case scenario in my opinion, or a 10 best case scenario, obviously. So we're actually going to start this video off the same way I would normally start off a video. So it's going to be like super behind the scenes stuff. Now, I do have one penny sleeve ready. I do have one card saver ready. So just guys, please, when you crack slabs at home, I'm telling you, do not just go cowboying in your living room or in your bedroom, because you'll have plastic pieces hidden forever. So today's episode, we're going to be cracking this Aquapolis 10. We're going to be sending it to PSA for cross grading, and we're going to see if we get a 10 back in return. After watching this video, in the same video, you're actually going to see this return of this GMA 10, and we're going to be able to see what we have. So, all right, guys. Now just crack, and crack. So like I said, I do the 4 corners. That's what I like to do. So as you guys can now see, all 4 corners are cut off. So now what I do is I take the screwdriver, I put it right in the corner. A little harder on video. Okay. So now as I put that in there, you'll see the case just comes right apart. So I'm going to do this in the bag, but you can see, well, I guess that's not bad. So you see it just comes off. So that's why I do all the 4 pieces. Now, if you only like cut one piece, as you try to pop this off, it's going to keep cracking on you. So that's why I just do all 4. And now you can see the card inside here like this. So now this is the important thing. Whenever you crack slabs, like I said, do not turn a 10 into a 4 or a 10 into a 9. So all you got to do is just put your hand over it and just let the card fall right into your hand. Oh boy, this thing is in the slab good. Okay. So now here's the card. Like I said, some card grading companies have penny sleeves, some don't. This card is already in a penny sleeve, but it's in like a very tight penny sleeve. So what I do want to do now is that I have this card out of the slab. I want to look at it, and we'll, if I can get it to focus on the video, we'll look at it too. So there's a little bit of hollow bleed on here, but not bad, nothing. Guys, this card is freaking mint. There is a little whitening on one corner, but it's not bad. I'm going to get out of the video. Tell me. So we'll look at the corners together. So those are the corners. Those are the corners. That's the only corner that has a little whitening on it. But these corners are perfect. Now, don't want to touch the hollow or anything, guys. So now I'm just going to put it in an actual penny sleeve. And that's it. Guys, I don't see any surface issues on here. I don't see anything. This is a solid PSA 10 in my book. Like, do you see those corners? There is no issues whatsoever. Like, those are clean. Like, this is what I'm talking about. Like, you got to just think. There was somebody out there. They had a 10, and they had a Hypno Hollow from Aquapolis that they could have sent to PSA and got a 10. And for whatever reason, that person just chose not to send this Hypno to PSA 10 or to PSA for whatever reason. And Instead, they sent it to GMA. They probably spent $5 or $10, however much money it costs to grade a card at GMA, and they lost out on hundreds of dollars by not sending it to PSA. Now, like I said, you should always buy the card and not the grade, but there's just people out there that won't do that. And there will be people, when I have this card graded by PSA, and I do believe it will get a 10. When it gets a 10, there will be a lot of people out there who will then value this Hypno at that PSA 10 rate. But while it was in that GMA slab, it was valued differently. And I could make the argument that if I listed this Hypno right now on eBay with really good photos, because I would have literally nothing to hide. So all 12 photos that eBay allows me, I would give as many good photos. And I bet you that this card in raw, because it's such a good quality card, would probably sell for the high end of the near mint price. Now, I'm very happy with this card. Now, my future is I was thinking about sending this card away to PSA and then sending it to PWCC or listing it on eBay and seeing how much we get for it. But I don't know. I'm gonna tell you right now, I got this like goofy smirk on my face. But if this card grades a 10, I think this might have to go in my personal collection to acquire a Hypno Holo from Aquapolis. All in $300 for a PSA 10. Now, I love the artwork too. Now, if you guys aren't familiar with the Hypno artwork from Aquapolis, so there's a guy, it's hard to see, but there's a guy, he's sitting at his table. He looks like a writer, an artist, sitting at his desk, and he fell asleep. He still has like the pen in his hand, piece of paper underneath him. And then outside the window, Hypno's standing like while this guy's sleeping. And you can see his dreams coming out, and Hypno's eating the dreams. So it's like a dream eater card. And when I think of Aquapolis, yes, there's a lot of heavy hitter cards in Aquapolis, the Crystal Lugia obviously being the big one. But when it comes to like personal cards that are my favorite in that set and one of my top artworks of all time, this artwork is one of them. Now, I don't even know this is a crazy thing, is if I were to buy an Aquapolis pack, I don't even know how much are Aquapolis packs right now. I'm going to guess, and this is just a ballpark. I don't really know, but I'll say $800. If I were to have a $800 Aquapolis pack that was made on PSA 10 quality, like that pack would be considered a good pack. Like it would be a win. Like, good job. You hit the PSA 10 Hypno. Like, you got a holo. Good job. You got one of the better holos in the set. But the fact that this card was so cheap, like, I don't know. I don't know if the market will ever go to that. We'll start, valuing cards just on the card and not everything else. But yeah, pretty funny to think about. So let's see. So anyways, now I want to just, do a little Pokemon chatting with you guys, talk about Logan Paul's booster box, or not booster box, but booster box sealed case he bought. Yeah, it was a sealed case, had been cracked open in the past, and they verified to make sure that there were, in fact, first edition boxes in there. Now, it is only like 2 known to exist. So Gary King Pokemon did have one. He also opened his a while back to verify it. And I think Gary King Pokemon either has like 8 first edition boxes or 9 allegedly. I'm not sure. But now Logan Paul, this makes 11 because he already had the 5 previous one he had 6 for that like big purchase he did, but he ended up opening TCA Gaming because if you remember, TCA had questioned the validity of his booster box. So TCA Gaming had opened that booster box live on stream, checked all the packs, resealed it, with like the TCA I guess you call them like tamper-proof stickers or whatever you want to call them. So that box was different than the other ones, where the other ones are like still true seal box, original cellophane wrap, and all that. People like. So he opened the TCA box for his second first edition booster box break, and that booster box ended up having 2 Charizards in it. So It ended up being a fantastic box. So now it totally has 11 booster boxes. The question is, what do you do with 11 booster boxes? I'm going to tell you right now, you do not buy 11 booster boxes to keep sealed. The problem is one of them looks like they're going to be giving Eve, but don't quote me on that. I'm not really like up to date. I should have Google searched that before I started this live. But so that's going to get rid of one of them, but he's still going to have 10 of those first edition booster boxes left. Now, 10 booster boxes, you don't buy that many booster boxes to just keep 10 sealed in your collection. And when you think about that second booster box, those packs average for around $40,000, meaning that booster box, after he pieced it out, it sold, for a little over $1 million. So for him to spend 3.5 million on 6 boxes, for anyone else to do that, that would be absolutely horrendous, stupid investing move. Him, the way he's going to sell these packs are so different that he would probably end up doing pretty good at spending the 3.5 million, but I don't know, like I get it. I understand why you'd go after first edition because first edition's the first. It has some of the most expensive cards, some of the rarest cards. But when you think about it, it gets boring. And I hate to say it gets boring because at no point should opening first edition Shadowless packs ever get boring, but it kind of did. And the problem was Logan Paul's very first live stream he did. The people buying those packs were definitely people that were a little bit more in the Pokemon community. The first booster box break had a very different feel to it. Like the excitement, the factor, the watching experience was very different. I think that was, and I hate to do it, and I hate to say that the Logan Paul influence had anything to do with Pokemon, but it did have a different feel to it that first booster box break. Then when he had his second one where they sold all the packs to the crypto investors and the rocket emoji to the moon type guys, it had a different feel to it. It seemed very the enthusiasm wasn't there. It seemed like just more like a dog and pony show than anything else. Now, hopefully this isn't going to be like the trend for all those other booster boxes where it's just going to advertise on loads with 10 booster boxes. Me personally, like some people say I'm starting to shill Pokemon a little bit. Maybe they're right in a way, but like I always thought of a booster box like, okay, Paul already opened a first edition box. What would be another box that would be excited, but yet would still have a good story to it? And I kept thinking a booster box that would have a good story to open at a live stream and have good cards in it and be interested would be like a Skyridge. And the reason why I said I thought a Skyridge box would be the next best choice because Skyridge has a good story to it. Skyridge was the last of the Wizard of the Coast sets. It came out in June 2003. Ruby Sapphire came out in July 2003. There was only I think it was like June 18th, Skyridge came out. Yeah. Is it crazy that I remember the release date for Skyridge, a set that I wasn't even around for? Yes, it's crazy. But, when you think it only a 1 month timeline, right after that happened, Wizard of the Coast sued Nintendo because they had like a copyright on trading card games. Like it has a cool backstory to it. So I always thought maybe that would be the next booster box to be open. And if you ever could get a ton of eyes on Skyridge, like, yeah, would I have a good position in Skyridge? Would I make out on that? Yeah, probably. So maybe that's like me shilling Pokemon, but maybe you guys can let me know down in the chat. And don't say like Neo Genesis first edition because sure, the Lugia is in there for Neo Genesis and the first edition Lugia, those prices are shilled all over the place. I think the highest auction we ever saw sold for like $130,000, but yeah, that was not a true sale. But yeah, I just wanted to have like a Pokemon chat with you guys, and I know I talked about I keep referring to the stream that I had to delete that had poor audio quality to it, but I talked about it. Jake from Pokenomics, I was on his stream the other night. I don't know how many of you guys got to watch that, but I had a lot of fun doing it. And shout out to Jake because, I've been creating content now on YouTube for a little bit over a year. And he was actually, only the second content creator to ever reach out to me and have me on their channel. And he's actually the first one that I ever accepted the invite. And it happened real fast. Like, uh, I think I got a Instagram message from him like an hour or two before we went live. So he just was like, "Hey, you want to go live?" I was like, "Hell yeah, I want to go live." And he was one of those people for a long time I've always wanted to sit down with and really just have a conversation about Pokemon, and especially Echo, the guy Joe that was in there. I don't really know Joe that well, but it was the first time I ever really got to sit down and talk to him. But that dude is super smart. He understands like a lot of the ins and outs, especially for the Nintendo sets and stuff like that, because he was actually in the hobby during that time. He was doing leagues, he was collecting, he was a big Gold Star guy. So it is fun to pick somebody's brain like that. Now, as we were talking, I think, I didn't want to like agree with Jake as much as I did. I was hoping I could go out there, we could have a little bit more debates, because I feel I have debated, or I've had like debates with some of Jake's like topics and conversations in the past. But the problem is now that Pokemon has retraced in price so much that we are kind of on the same boat where we think there are a lot of good values right now. And when I say there's good values, it's not doesn't mean that everything's a good value. Some things are good values. And the reason why I say some things are good values is because we've seen prices retrace in some products very low. But some products, we still have a very long retrace left to go where some of this stuff will be worth buying. But we're getting close to it. And I think one of the places we look as a potential investment strategy is like a chill and rain and stuff like this. But I wish I said on that stream, and I should have, but I'm going to on this stream, is I think it's a very bad way for Pokemon investing is to pick up anything, to buy anything, and your only thought process when buying something like this. When I bought this Hypno, I wasn't just thinking what's the most this card can ever go up to. While I was buying this card, I was also making a decision. What is the worst case scenario? And for me, I said the worst case scenario is probably a 9. But if I had to like just be safe, the worst case scenario is an 8. And while I do that and I look at the worst case scenario, people need to start doing that when it comes to investing in Pokemon. When you pick up a Chilean booster box at, $80, you need to look at it not at what can the price be. You need to really start to look at stuff like that as what is the worst case scenario for this product? What is like the absolute bottom that I think the product could go to? Those are the start like the things you need to start talking about. So you already have like a price point in mind, like worst case scenario, something you could be ready for. And I feel that is a strong possibility that a lot of the people getting in Pokemon is the worst case scenario. They only ever considered what is the best case scenario. And if you only ever thought the best case scenario was the moon and rocket emojis, and you're going to make hundreds of dollars on every single mod or booster box, I think maybe that's where a lot of people struggle. But so, yeah, I just wanted to say that, kind of go back. Let's see. I want to go read some of the chat to the top. All right. I appreciate you guys. If the volume's been in and out, hopefully when the video gets released live, it's a little bit better. Pokey Fresh. So I talked about the Whatnot stream earlier. Said there was 3 duplicators by the time they were done. Okay, I didn't know that. So one guy was a streamer who just happened to announce a giveaway for his second pack. Oh man, that's super sketch, man. Let's see. Yes, a lot of people are talking about audio. Let's see. Pokefresh said, let's see. Kane says, Poke Knowledge, if that card ends up as a 9, LL, let me know. I'm building a PSA 9 Hollow Aquapolis. Honestly, guys, if this thing grades a 9, that's like my break-even point. and I'll probably just keep it. I think it's going to grade a 10 though. Like this centering on this card. I don't know how well you guys can see that, but the centering on this card is freaking awesome. And I don't know. I like to do stuff like that. And that's the thing too is it's a, this is a card I like, but I got it for cheap. So like, I think that's a lot of it too. So Basic Trader said the percentage of winning just one pack against a crowd of 1,200 is 0.0008% chance. And out of 36 pack, 3 people won 2. That is insane. So Dark Cosmos says if you call them out on the stream, they ban you so fast. Yeah. Guess what? Dark Cosmos, there's no banning me on this channel. Only I get to ban myself, and I'll probably do that eventually. But that's one of the things that this channel exists for. One of the reasons I have this channel is I'm going to call stuff out as I see them. Whether what I say is true or false all the time, I'm going to always tell you what I think is true or what I really feel. But that's one of the beautiful things about channels like this is I'm going to say when I see somebody on Whatnot doing sketchy shit, I'm going to call them out. Like all these razzle dazzle guys, packs that the ones that they were open last night, I don't think they were resealed, but I've seen a lot of packs be open on that stream that if I was, what's that question? It's like, if I were to do this, how would I do it? And then when I say, okay, how would I reseal packs? How would I sell these resealed packs? When they're doing it step by step, the way I would do it, and sometimes they're doing it worse than the way I would do it, meaning I would probably be able to do it better than them. And then that's like what people will run with. They'll hear me say, I could sell resealed packs better. No. What I'm saying is if you're going to be a smart investor collector, you need to realize what to look out for. And if I see all the warning signs in one single stream, I'm going to be nervous and I'm going to call people out for that stuff. Dorian E said, why do you crack instead of PSA regrade? That's a good question because PSA will not do crossovers from certain companies. So GMA is one of the companies that PSA will not do a crossover for. The only 2 companies I believe that PSA does crossovers for right now, or maybe it's 3, but one of them is definitely Beckett. One of them I believe is CGC, and then it may be SGC, but I don't think so. I think there's literally only 2 companies they do crossover grades for, and it's Beckett and CGC. So that's the reason why I had to crack it. And then also, I like to crack slabs because if I truly believe that a card is a higher grade, I do believe I have a better chance of getting a 10 is if they see this card raw. And this card is so good that I would submit it at the $100. If it got a 9, I'd probably hold on to it, wait for prices to drop back down and just resubmit it in the future. Like when I look at cards with good fundamentals, sets that I think will do good, and when you talk about different investing areas of the hobby, you have your set cards, you have your trophy cards, you have your promo cards. When it comes to just set cards and sets that I think are still undervalued, Aquapolis is definitely one of them, one of the good cards. These are the things I look for. This is a scam. No way do 2 people win twice on only 20 packs given away, 36. Yeah, 1,000 plus entries. Yeah, super sketchy, guys. And the fact that some people in that chat were like, there's nothing fishy here. Oh, makes me want to like pee. Yeah, Pink Lady said, I heard people talk crap about PSA though. Pink Lady, you're right. And you want to know why you're right? People talk crap about PSA because people talk crap about everything. And who are they sending cards to instead of PSA? And if they're talking crap about PSA because they're sending cards to CGC or Beckett, that's fine. They can. And I do believe Beckett and CGC are good graders. Like, I have, like, here's cards that I'm cross grading over, Like, these are cards I'm cross grading over, 9.5. Like, these are cards that I think will be good crossovers. Like, 9.5s. Like these are cards that are worth it to be graded. Like I'm not talking bad about them. I'm just saying when it boils down to it, the resale value of other grading card companies are not there. So when people talk bad about them, listen, are PSA slabs superior? No. Are their labels superior? No. Realistically, does PSA have anything going for it with the exception that their grades fetch a premium? No. Is PSA still very inconsistent sometimes at very high grades? Sometimes. There's a lot of weak 10s and there's a lot of strong 9s, you know? It's just it's one of those things, it's one of those things you got to get over in the hobby and just once you start to accept it, it is what it is. Uh yeah, you said Booyah said people talk crap about all grading companies, nothing new. Yeah. Uh, T Swift said, I just picked up a SGC 9.5 first edition Shining Steelix for $350. It's an easy PSA 10. Yeah. You know, that's one of those things. It's if you can pick up cards, like I have cards here that are not expensive cards. Like this is a good example. A Shadowless Dugtrio, 8.5. Like this is not a card that is worth it to send away at $100 grading fee. It's not. But is this Shadowless Dugtrio a card that's worth it to send away at like a $10 grading fee? Yeah. This is actually like a strong 8.5. I don't CGC is a tough grader, man. This card is nice. Like this card, I'll keep shilling the cards that I told you guys. That secret rare Pikachu from I don't even know what grading company this is. OG Grading. What is that? I don't know. I've never even heard of them before. But this slab came up in a OG9 for a Pikachu from EX Legend Maker, like in near mint condition. I don't know. I'm pretty sure I saw an EX Legend Maker Pikachu secret rare sell on the last PWCC auction. I didn't even like follow it to see where it ended, but I'm pretty sure I saw it selling for over $600. So here's a 9 for like $60. Like, this is easy. These are no brainers for me. And these cards aren't worth to send away at $100 of graded, but I don't know. Something to think about. Let's see. Let's see. Basic Trainer said the odds of a single person winning packs is 0.0004%. Oh, good. Hey guys, let me do me a favor. If you had any questions that I missed, just write them in the bottom of the chat because it is hard sometimes to just. CG Art House on Facebook said, very difficult thing to objectively look at downside risks and weigh it out equally. You're right and wrong by saying that. I don't think it's difficult to objectively look at the upside and the downside. I think the only difficult part of it is that people need to just make their own decisions, their own rational thought. You know, when you do something like invest in trading cards or Pokemon to, you know, because that's what this channel is. When you do something like that, you need to already be financially stable in other aspects of your life. Like you need to understand that what you're doing is there's inherent risk a part of it. And you need to maybe you don't have to be an expert all the time, but you definitely need to be like well-rounded or at least understand whatever card you're buying. You need to understand price points. You need to just spend a lot of time researching stuff. No, and sometimes you don't have to research if you have good, strong fundamentals of the overall market and you know price points and you are pretty good read on the market. And right now, it looks like everybody who's running away from all this is probably going to do bad in the long term. And the reason why I say that is because it just seems like whatever this market wants to do, you got to sometimes do what the other people are not doing. If you were that person buying, I don't know, Battle Styles booster boxes as $160, you probably did really bad. Like It's always, you don't want to like start at a like to where it's always going to be an uphill battle. You're always going to be chasing the gains that you had made. When now you can buy low, it's easier, right? Like, because when you buy at the top and you made all this money and you didn't sell, you didn't do anything, and you just thought things were going to keep going up forever with this very irrational exuberance, like, yeah, it's, I could see how this hobby would really be hard. It would really not be fun if you were constantly chasing those gains and your expectations were so out of the realm of what makes sense. So, hey, I see Professor Oak in the chat. Good to see you, bud. Uh, uh, so, let's see. Basic Trader said, Jay kept saying the only reason people prefer the con is because of manipulation, and celebrities in the hobby believe that. While world trophies should be worth more because of rarity. I talked to Jake about that before the stream actually started. I let him know my opinion on him, but like, I also understand the trophy card argument, because the trophy card argument is the true rarity and scarcity argument. Now, my only problem with the trophy card market, and I've talked about it before, is I think that market was very manipulated to get there. But I also, just because I don't like the manipulation to get to a lot of these prices, doesn't mean that I don't understand what the current prices are doing and how eventually, given enough time, that the hobby could eventually look at those trophy cards and these very rare one of sixes or one of 200s or whatever, level of trophy card it is. I could see the hobby eventually moving there, the same way I could see the hobby moving to like a lot of Art Academy cards that are 1 out of 100. And we've already seen what prices do there. And there's a lot of Art Academy cards that I like, actually really like. So, uh, Australian Boxway said, Hey mate, just tuned in. Not sure if you had already answered my Instagram question about whether high-end cards can become a bad investment due to limited audience with high-end purchasing power, etc. So high-end cards can potentially be a bad investment if your price points you bought into them were too high. It depends what you mean by that. High-end cards, the problem with high-end cards cannot really be that prices are low. It could just be that the liquidity of those cards could be tough. And I say liquidity could be tough is because if you, for whatever reason, hopefully you're not buying like high-end $50,000 cards and you're in like some position where you need to liquidate cards quickly and get your financial gains back out of them. But if that did happen, that absolute worst case scenario, and you had to pull out those cards and get money, it could be hard. Or things that are probably more realistic, things that I run into occasionally, is some of my high end cards are good for liquidity to free up funds to buy other cards I want. But sometimes you could have a card pop up for sale, and that card only pops up like once every 9 months or once every couple years. And if that card that only pops up once every 2 years happens to just be on a random PWCC auction, and now you have to liquidate $30,000 worth of your more high end cards, that's where that could kind of get a little tricky. And not everybody just, carries a bunch of liquidity, like bunch of just cash on them. A lot of our like Pokemon net worth is really wrapped up in cards and not just so much in money. So yeah, that's where that could be hard. That limited audience could hurt you. But when you have cards with limited auctions too, they could be the easiest to sway on the high end too. While there is all that downturn like risk to them, it only sometimes takes two people to bid up a card, because it just needs two people, and especially cards that are very rare, have very low populations, don't have very set fixed price points. Realistically, the true value of those cards is whatever people are going to pay for them. So you can have extreme swings on both ends of the spectrums. You can have a card sell that is extremely undervalued, or you can have two people bid up a card. Pokey Fresh talking about the Whatnot stream. Honestly, the stream reminded me heavily of the video you made showing how easy it could be to resale packs and make them look real on video. Can you speak on that video? It opened my eyes so much. I don't think those packs were resealed. I looked at some of the condition. They looked like legit packs. I don't think it was a resale thing. Uh, Pokey Fresh said the resealed pack video made me laugh. I don't even know who you're talking about. Uh, let's see. Man, my chat keeps sometimes it just randomly like jumps all the way to the bottom. Uh, Millennium Vintage said, I wish I was in the hobby back in 2013. I got into slabs. I was all binder grown up. Yeah, a lot of people are binder collections. Nothing wrong with that. It's just the highest resale or the highest, easiest resale value is with graded cards. Kevin Clare said that video by favorite by far. Maybe I need to those like resealed pack videos. I don't if you guys do like them. I can never get a good read if people actually like those because I say my humor in those videos is pretty dry. I'm just like, oh, here's another, hollow Espeon or something like that. Uh, so let's see. Cade says, I finally bought a booster box of Battle Styles. LOL. Welcome to the club of battle boxes. Now, I like Battle Styles booster boxes at these cheap prices, but I kind of like Chill and Rain a little bit better. But maybe that could be one of those things that's why Battle Styles would do better because everybody's looking at Chill and Rain at these cheaper prices. But I think overall, Chill and Rain just has a lot of better packs in it. Yeah, $75 Chill and Rain booster boxes. If you guys bought it at $75, did better than me. I'm at $79.95. That was the price I paid. So you guys got me beat by $5. Jake said he bought his for like 73, so he's got me beat by $7. So that's pretty good. But like that's the thing, right? I buy $80 boost box, it retraces to 72. Like I don't need to go fire sale. Oh my god, I got to get out of this, and that's what some people do. Is I don't know. I don't think I'll ever 100% understand the exuberance of the Pokemon market. How somebody could buy at all these super high inflated prices, but when prices retrace, then they get scared. And I don't understand because the sentiment that a lot of people were giving too was, oh, I wish things would go back to normal. I wish things would be cheaper. I would love to be able to buy cards and buy packs. And then these same people that said all that stuff are now gone. I just think it it shows that a lot of the things those people said was kind of BS. And I also said in order for the hobby to grow in the long term, you need people like that to leave the hobby. And people don't like to hear that. That the people who are just all about the rocket emojis and everything's going to the moon type stuff, like those people are actually detrimental for the long term growth of the hobby. Because things I feel comfortable with is I don't feel comfortable with those like drastic price increases where everything just rockets up and then crashes back down. What I like, what I feel comfortable with, what I look at when I buy cards or packs or sets is I look for that slow, gradual increase, things that year over year, set after set, time after time, especially when stuff goes out of print, you got to think in mind. Look at XY base. XY base was not expensive. XY base now in relative of the market is very expensive. You almost never even see XY base set in any products. Yeah, you do see some of these like XY sets. I think we just seen like a couple Ancient Origin packs trickle out. We still see evolutions, Crimson Invasion, stuff like that. But sorry, not Crimson Invasion. I should say Steam Siege. But packs like that we still see trickle out. But like there's these subsets like Flashfire. When was the last time you saw a random pack of Flashfire in a set? You just kind of don't. So there are always sets that are going to perform better than other sets. And sets that are, like I said, those little bit of those surprises like that XY base set. But you got to keep in mind when you're living in the moment, you're living in the moment of XY base set, it doesn't look like a product that will ever be worth money. Doesn't ever look like a product that's going to have this slow, gradual increase set after set, time by time. But that's the thing about the Pokemon hobby is in the Pokemon hobby, there is just one person who is constantly undefeated, and that's Father Time. Whether it's, and yeah, people love to talk about how it took things a lot of time to increase in price. And I think there's a good reason for that. It's that more organic type growth. But these inflood of new collectors, I don't know how it's gonna like wind up for the long term of the hobby. But I do know one thing that a lot of the new people in the hobby, they all know one thing more than anything else. It's not vintage, it's not base set, it's not any of that. The one thing everyone seems to know is modern. And that is the one drastic difference that we've ever seen before. No one ever knew modern, or if they did know modern, they knew modern in passing. Oh, here's a new set. It has this chase card in it. Hell if I know any of the other cards in it. So it was I know modern in passing. Not this, I need to stomp out on modern stuff. But that's what a lot of the new collectors are gonna know. So I don't know how that's gonna play out in the long term. I really do not know. And so I'm just taking, like thought out guesses. Uh, so see Cheval's in the chat. Uh, let's see what else we got. Uh, let's see. Question for Poke Knowledge. Have you opened VMAX Climax yet? No, I have not. I know I'm not a big Japanese, but I'm also a fan of character rares. Yeah, I'm not a fan of, or I haven't opened it yet. It's one of those interesting sets. It's an awesome set, but it's a big set. You get 10 packs per, call it booster box, whatever you want to call it. You're gonna get like 4 of those character cards per booster box. Like these Japanese character cards become more bulk. Japanese market is just not something I heavily invested in, something that I really know a lot about, so I just kind of stay away from it. Yeah. T Swift says, look at Japanese Mew EX promo and tell me that it isn't beautiful. I'll tell you what, the Japanese Mew EX from the Japanese version of the Ruby Sapphire Mew, I really like that one. I don't think that's what you're talking about, but I do like that card. I do like that card in English also. And I really like the Mew EX. Probably the best Mew EX is from Team Rocket Returns. So Australian Blastoise says, "Do you like the future for vintage blisters?" Yeah, I love the future for vintage blisters. You do have to pay a little bit of a premium on it, but you really can't weigh vintage blister packs. At least I have never really heard of anybody weighing a vintage blister pack consistently, meaning that they did it time after time, set after set. Now, there are a couple 3-pack blisters or some of this mid-era stuff that for a while was relatively affordable, but sadly a lot of stuff kind of has exploded in price a lot. You could pick up some that would have like a Holland's Phantom pack, Crystal Guardians pack, and maybe like Dragon Frontiers pack in it. Like those 3 would be like the 3-pack blister, and they'd be selling for like $600, $500, which was cool for a 3-pack blister. Now those things are in the thousands. Like now, that is a lot of the buy it now stuff on eBay, but the price points for a lot of these blister packs have increased a lot. Now, one of the big things people like about vintage blisters is they like the artwork, not just the packs, but they like the artwork of the actual blisters themselves. And not all blister packs are created equal. Like there are some that are actually way better than others. Like, yeah, everyone knows the very obvious ones like Base Set or Jungle. But like there's Sky Ridge blister packs, there's Aquapolis blister packs. Honestly, every single set has a blister pack. And then you even have like some real hardcore blister pack collectors who like, the obscure third party repacks. And those are like every time I see one that I've never seen before. Like they come up sporadically. They're very random, but there are even collectors for that. Now, those really old repacks, like you have 100% chance your packs are not weighted stuff. So a lot of that is good values in the long term. So uh, Kevin Lua said, I see the EX cards go, or there's really organic nostalgia. So EX, so I mean, there's a lot of EX cards like through different sets, but when you talk about, I see in the bottom or the end of it, you're talking about black and white. Yeah, I mean, and I know which black and white cards you're talking about. You talk about like the black and white EX for Quaza. There's a I think there's a Groudon and not a Groudon. No, there's the EX Rayquaza, EX Kyogre, and what is the other third? What is the other third big black and white EX card? Rayquaza, Kyogre, and is it Groudon? I don't know. But yeah, there are. Sorry, I went off on a tangent trying to think of black and white EX heavy hitters. But yeah, there are a lot of those black and white sets that do have some really rare cards. And when they get really rare, they get really rare in high grades. Like, yeah, you could probably pick them up raw. Some of these beat up, I don't know, ballpark PSA 4, PSA 5 condition for like, I don't, I really don't know what a super beat up card sells for, but I'm sure you could find like a buy it now listing for $20. But when it comes to the more like near mint PSA 10s, yeah, those cards are few and far between. And I think a lot of people, when it comes to black and white era, which is what you were talking about in your comment, is that people forget that black and white eras had very crappy pull rates. Like the pull rates for a lot of these sets were very bad. And we look at some of these modern sets as having bad pull rates, like black and white were even worse. So, uh, Pokefresh said, thoughts on the future of first edition Rocket booster packs, loose packs. I'm guessing you're not talking Team Rocket returns, you're just talking straight up Team Rocket. Like, you're probably going to see those packs retrace some more. There's a lot of first edition Team Rocket out there. You can make the argument that there's more first edition Team Rocket out there than there is unlimited Team Rocket. So those are not packs that I'm actively buying. Those are not packs I feel comfortable with. Like, if you want to get your art set, go ahead, get your art set, but like don't heavily invest in first edition rocket packs. I would tell you not to do that. Cheval says Pokéknowledge caught COVID too. Listen, I'm telling you guys right now, when you guys have kids or if you have kids, you send your kids to daycare, they will come home with every single disease known to mankind. And right now, I have whatever cold my son gave me from daycare. So, oh, and daycare costs an arm and leg. You know how many Pokemon cards you got to sell to send your kids to daycare? Uh, let's see. Robert Novak said there's also Deoxys, Lugia, Ho-Ho, EXs in terms of big hitters. Yeah. Pokeball. Dark Cosmo says black and white. There wasn't much to pull. No, I mean black and white did have some. I guess it's like the first sets with full art cards, but black and white. I don't know if we'll ever see black and white become big anytime soon. If anything, I think there's just too many other sets that people would probably want to go after first. Black and white would take a while to get there. That's just in my opinion. Now, if somebody wants to cut across, cut in front of the line and just kind of beat everyone to black and white, I think there could be a lot of potential there. But when you think about a lot of black and white sets like Boundaries Crossed and Dark Explorers, and like the sets as a whole are not great, especially like go to the black and white base set or Emergent Powers, like even the two earliest sets, like there's not a lot there in a lot of these different sets. So there are your heavy hitters in every single set, but it's black and white's tough. I don't know enough about black and white to the point where I've dove into black and white so hardcore that I know every card in every set or super up to date with prices, because I just deal with a lot with Nintendo, deal a lot with e-reader sets and Diamond and Pearl and Heart Gold Soul Silver and even like Platinum sets, stuff like that. Like it takes a while just to get to black and white. Fresh said, speaking of the first edition Rocket Packs, I scored one unweighed at Collector Con for $199 fresh from a box. Like, yeah, I think that's, I don't know. I got a lot of price memory when it comes to first edition Team Rocket Packs. Like, $199 to me seems like a lot, but I just don't know enough about the current value and some of like stuff like that I don't follow heavily. But maybe that's a good price. I don't. It doesn't sound like a good one though. Cheval says, Pokéknowledge, I think you already explained in other videos, but why don't you like Japanese cards, even vintage? Japanese is the country of origin for all this, and their quality feels overall superior. All right, Cheval, so you brought up a good thing. One, the quality is better. It's different printing company, obviously not like Wizard of the Coast when it comes to vintage stuff. The problem I have with Japanese card is the releases for those cards were so different. And there was a PokeTuber that I like don't watch, but I randomly watch one of his videos. He makes a lot of like top 10 best investments, best 5 investments in Pokemon videos, does a lot of those. And he had list to a Blaine's Charizard in Japan and talk about the price difference between them and just didn't like put any context behind it. Literally just like said, look at how Blaine's Charizard sells for in English. Look at how much it sells for in Japanese. To say that about those two cards, to compare those two cards, it's I don't even know where to start. Like the releases for those cards are so different. How many of those cards exist are so different. How many you're going to pull out of an English booster box? How many you're going to pull out of a Japanese booster box? Like it just makes me so upset to hear people talk about stuff like that where they obviously have not done their research. And so the reason I don't like Japanese enough is because you have to do that with every single card. And some of them are easy, right? There is your obvious, like, Japanese cards, Japanese releases that make sense. But there are a lot of Japanese cards that the releases are very different. And I've talked about it, like I've talked about, Pikachu Gold Star for English. This is the example I give a lot. Pikachu Gold Star in English was released in Harlem Phantoms. Like everyone knows that card. That Pikachu Gold Star released in Japan was a promo card that came in one of those like lunchbox tins. Now, can you really compare like a Japanese promo out of a lunchbox to the release of Hollow Phantoms and the pull rates for Pikachu Gold Star of that? No. But people will look at that Pikachu Gold Star, which has a lot of money. Keep in mind, this was a promo card that came in a lunchbox, very different release. And people might not know that, or they might just look at the dollar amount. So I don't know. Let's see, talk investment wise. That's one thing, but when it comes to purely collecting, you get the same card, but it looks better most of the time. Even base set excluded Shadowless. Um, see, I don't like that argument either. Saying that you get the same card, it just looks different. Like that's like saying Evolutions is a far superior set than base set because you could get the same cards and they look the same. Like I don't know. I don't like that argument. Like, yeah, you could. I guess that's one way about it, but it's not like the way I want to go. But anyways, guys, my plan was to just make this stream be 1 hour long. It's 1 hour and 6 minutes long. I'm super congested. Everybody's probably already turned off this video. But if you do me a favor, hit the like button. That really helps me out a lot. I do have plans to live stream maybe tomorrow night during the Logan Paul like whatnot stream. If that's something you guys want to do, maybe that will be like it would be a stream that I won't make like go live after the fact. So it will just be a live stream as we're watching everything go down live in person. I don't know if that's something you guys would want to do, like a little watch party for that. But let me know down in the chat. Let me know down after this video if that's something you want to do, like a real-time live watch party. And like I said, as soon as we're done with that stream, it's not going to go live or anything, because that would be super boring for anybody to watch who wasn't like tuned in for that live stream. Yeah. All right, guys. But other than that, I'll catch you on the next video.